Hey everyone, Alon Mizrahi here. This is the Mizrahi Perspective. Welcome. We have entered a new and quite dramatic era in this long process of Israeli descending deeper and deeper into derangement um, and disintegration. This is Israel falling apart. It's pretending it's strong and it's striking its enemies. Um, but this is Israel losing control of itself and its fate. This is what's happening. And just to give you a hint of how dramatic this is, what you see behind me, this cloud of smoke emanating from Tel Aviv, is actually Israel's most central military base called Hakiria. This is where Israel's high command meets. This is where all the wings and arms of the Israeli security state and war apparatus operate. And this is where they handle their affairs and every strategic security decision, for instance, how to carry out Gaza's genocide and what food to not bring in, and how many innocent people it's okay to kill with every bomb, 10 or 100 or 1,000, or what country to attack. All these decisions are made in this base right here. So Iran hit it, and we don't know exactly the meaning of this hit, and we probably never going to know, or not for a long time. But this is very serious. This is an actual open war between Israel and Iran, which I at least have seen coming for a very long time. Basically, on October 7, I knew we were going to get there because, and I've said it many times, because I knew Israel was basically going crazy. Basically going crazy. And what we see now is not Israel carrying out a calculated course of action based on some factors. This is a country, a culture that has lost its grip on reality and is just acting on impulse. And the Israeli impulse is to attack, to hurt, to destroy, to deny. This is the Israeli impulse. And in times of crisis, Israel will do this more and more and more because this is the automated response that Israel has to any problem. It bombs, okay? It bombs, it kills, it assassinates, it sabotages, and so on. We know this by now. Um, Before I go on and describe what is happening now, what in terms of geopolitics, what is the meaning and the importance of this, of what's going on at the moment? And this is very dramatic because tonight, this is nighttime in Tel Aviv, in occupied Palestine, basically. The missiles from Iran are almost nonstop. Every 5-10 minutes, half hour, there's a new round of alarm sirens going off. And every time there's a hit or two or three or four or five. And these are just the one that they report. What's happening in military bases, we don't know. They're not going to tell us. If soldiers have been hurt, if equipment has been destroyed, no one is going to reveal to us for understandable reasons. So this is in a nutshell what the Israeli side of what's going on. But before I go on to describe what is happening and the significance of this, the huge global significance of this, I have to say a word to Zionists who are watching this and who are commenting on my Twitter account and Twitter feed. And they are angry with me because I don't support or I fiercely resist and oppose what Israel is doing. And I want to tell them, and I want to tell you if you're watching this, You have nothing to be angry with me, because I have chosen nothing of this. I was against this from the very first day. I was against the occupation and the apartheid and all the crimes that Israel had been committing or has been committing for so many years and decades, for a long time before October 7. I could see the suffering of Gaza for a long time before October 7. And on October 7, I said and I wrote, this needs to be de escalated now, because this is going to get out of control and Israel is going crazy. And Israel has no idea where this is leading. So I have chosen none of this. This is what you chose. This is the reality you created. You supported genocide. You supported war with Lebanon. You supported war with Syria. You support the occupation and the apartheid in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. You support aggression and war with Iran. This is your reality. So take responsibility for what you have created. I didn't want a single child in Gaza to die, and I didn't want Israelis to sit in bomb shelters tonight. This is not the reality I was hoping for. This is the reality you created. So you have nothing to be angry about with me or with other anti-Zionist Jews. This is your reality. This is what you supported. This is what you enabled. This is what you participated in. This is where you have led us. This is where you have led Israel. This is all on you. Now I'm done with this subject. Although I may have to repeat this message a couple of times for people to actually get it. One last thing before I describe what's happening and the significance of it, because this is of huge significance. I'm going to repeat my message that my channel is demonetized on YouTube because I'm too pro-humanity, and the high-tech giants don't like it. The Western establishments don't like pro-humanity messages. Okay? So my channel is demonetized. If you want to support my channel and support my work, you can use the link in the YouTube description. They demonetize, we decolonize. Okay, this is our separate jobs. They demonetize, we decolonize, and we are going to decolonize everything. Everything, every single thing is going to be decolonized. Everything. Believe me. And this is the importance of what's happening. This is not a war between Iran and Israel, just like the war in Ukraine is not a war between Russia and Ukraine, and just like the tensions between Taiwan and China are not tensions between Taiwan and China. And there are many examples, just like what's going on in Sudan is not this military group or that military group fighting the UAE or that other local enemy. This is all nonsense. And what's going on in Congo and many other places. I mean, there are so many fronts to this war. And this war is an anti-colonial war. This is a war of white Judeo-Christian culture, civilization against the rest of humanity, against brown people, against Muslims, against the colonized, against black people, against the poor, against the earth itself, which they destroy through their insane capitalism and destruction of resources. This is what's happening now. This is not a war between Israel and and Iran. This is a peak in the long, long struggle of peoples of this planet who are trying to break free from Western white Judeo-Christian oppression. This is it. This is the importance of this moment. And this is why the global South must stand with Iran relentlessly, because Iran must not be allowed to fall. If the US is going to directly intervene or not, we don't know yet. This is going to be a very big decision for Donald Trump to make, because the Iranians have acted wisely and they haven't attacked American bases. They didn't shut down the Straits of Hormuz. They didn't make it a war against the US. Israel wanted to make it about itself. Israel wanted to make it look like they were going at it alone. And Iran accepted this scenario. Iran chose to not expand and not escalate with the US. And I think this is a very wise strategic decision. Now, Iran initially has been hit hard, and this is undeniable. They have lost important people, very important people. Now, we shouldn't exaggerate the meaning of this for a country of 90 million people, okay? With a huge industrial and military base. This is not a small organization. So we shouldn't exaggerate the impact of the Israeli attack. Still, it was meaningful. It was meaningful. It was tough for the Iranian regime, and they have lost important people. But they have been preparing for this for decades. They have been through much harder scenarios and situations. They have been attacked and spied on and sabotaged by entire West for decades and decades and decades and decades. They have been put under the strictest sanctions. They have been destroyed reputationally. They have been attacked in every way you can imagine. They have lost hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people in war. So this is not going to break Iran. This is not even close to it. And we can already see, it took a while, but we can already see that Iran's capacity to retaliate in a very meaningful and substantial way hasn't been harmed. Israel has already hit Israel with the hundreds of missiles, and it looks like the style of the Iranian retaliation is to escalate, to increase. It's not diminishing, it's increasing. The interval between the different barrages of missiles is getting narrower. It's not getting wider. They are escalating. They are increasing the volume and probably the deadliness of their attacks. So Netanyahu has got what he wanted so bad, which is war with Iran. And he got what he wanted in the form of an attack that looks like Israel was doing all of its own, which is, of course, nonsense, because Israel didn't produce one single airplane, okay? And most of the missiles and the fuel is not Israeli. It's everything is provided by the US. So there's no Israel alone. This is, I mean, Israel is not even a real country. It's an American white colonial military base to control, to dominate, to subjugate, to exploit, to oppress the Middle East, the Arabs of the Middle East, who are the only true natives of the Middle East, and no European, not European Jews. So the great big war between white Western Judeo-Christian colonialism and the global south, between the oppressed people of this planet, the brown people, Asian people. Because remember, China is closely tied with Iran. They are not going to let Iran go. They cannot allow themselves to do something like this because the same mode of operation is going to be used against Russia and China next. Infiltration, command units, drones, missiles, assassination, sabotage, and so on and so on. This is the West unleashing a kind of guerrilla warfare against the global South and using the vast territories of countries like Iran and Russia, because they did it to Russia a few weeks ago. But this is not a war between Israel and Iran. This is a war between the biggest and most prominent incarnation of white colonialism, which is the US, and a native, indigenous Middle Eastern presence like Iran, and a native, indigenous, historical empire like China. This is the white colonizers trying to finish humanity, trying to expand their colonial rule over more territory for another 500 years or maybe 1,000 years. This is why this war is so crucial. This is why the global South cannot allow itself to lose this war. And I believe it won't lose this war. I believe it won't lose this war. Despite this opening strike that Israel carried out, the strategic depth and the location that Iran is in, and its closeness, geographic closeness to China and Russia, which guarantees it can always be resupplied. And this is crucial in war because everything they use is going to run out eventually, no matter how much you stocked up. Same thing with Israel. How many interceptor missiles Israel has? 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. They are going to run out eventually. They're going to have to resupply. And it's going to be much more difficult to resupply Israel than it is to resupply Iran. Israel's main airport is already shut. Israeli skies are hermetically closed. No one can leave or enter the country. And military American planes may try to land in Israel. But it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. It's going to endanger American crews and American pilots. It's not going to be easy. But my main message here is the importance, the global and human and historic importance of this war. This is the world war. This is the world war. We are in it. And as a matter of fact, the West has already begun, launched this war many years ago. It's just that the global South didn't choose to participate in it, to attend it. Okay? I think and I hope that now they realize that they cannot be dragged into this Western style of separating and breaking up the global South into different theaters, different arenas, different fronts, and going after one at a time, like Israel did with Hezbollah and with Hamas and with Syria and now Iran. There is a method here. They are trying to isolate one enemy at a time. and they cannot be allowed to continue doing this. And after losing Syria, the global south cannot lose Iran. This must not happen. And I believe that in Moscow and Beijing, they understand it. They understand the crucial importance of Iran for the success of the anti colonial rebellion that we are living through now, when we don't recognize it because we don't have political discourse in the West, at least. In the US, it doesn't exist. In other places, it hardly exists. But this is the big war of our time. It's much bigger than climate, and people get angry with me for saying this, but I insist, it's much bigger than climate. It's much bigger than gender. This is the real war to fight. And if we lose this war, no other win is going to have any meaning and any significance. We are going to lose all of it. The class and race that the division between the global south and the global north or the west, this is the real war. And this war now has become hotter. Not hot because Ukraine and Russia is for to a large degree is already dead. This is not Ukraine fighting. This is ridiculous. This is Britain, France, Germany, and the US fighting Russia, using Ukraine as a platform. And this is not Israel. This is not the Jewish state fighting Iran. The Jewish state has no capacity to fight Iran. This is the US colliding with the Jewish state to harm the global south, to try to make sure that white Western colonialism can keep on working and crushing humanity and taking over more geography, more resources, more of the human spirit, more of human consciousness, more of human society. This is the real struggle. This is the real war. And this was my big important message for today. I'm following this closely. And if something extra dramatic happens, I may do a live broadcast. But this is not going to be short. This is going to be a prolonged war. I mean, why Israel? I mean, I already answered this question. Israel doesn't have control of itself. But the calculus of this mystifies me. Israel cannot sustain a prolonged war with Iran. So what's the plan here? Is there a plan? Have they planned for this? In Israeli media, they say they planned for 2 weeks. Are you going to deplete Iranian missile capabilities in 2 weeks? And what's going to happen? And they're already saying that they are going to, because Iran attacked civilian centers. This is how Israel frames this, which is, of course, a lie. Iran attacked military targets. They are already saying they are going to attack Iranian infrastructure. And what is Iran going to do in retaliation? Attack Israeli infrastructure. So what happens when there's no electricity in Israel, in large parts of Israel? How are they going to deal with it? How are they going to deal with a shut down economy where nothing functions and no one goes to work? What happens if internet is disrupted in Israel? And this is a possibility. They haven't planned for this properly. They couldn't have. This is acting on impulse. This is acting on vanity. This is acting on narcissism. This is acting on a lack of morality. This is doing something major to make the world forget the crimes they have committed before and are still committing in Gaza and the West Bank. But no one is going to forget this. Humanity is not made of British elites and German idiots. 80% of humanity, good and normal people, can see the picture clearly. They are not confused by Israeli or American propaganda. They see the picture clearly. They remember what Israel has been doing. They remember the pictures of all the children dying in Gaza. They haven't forgotten this. They will not forget this. And to enter this hotter phase in this world war, as the West is now doing, because they are all Zionist bitches. The UK, every time they come up with one word, they are allowed to say about any situation Israel is involved in. The last one was intolerable. This is how they were instructed, probably by an Israeli lobby group. This is how they were instructed to talk about Gaza in the last phase of the genocide. So in every interview, every British politician had to say the word intolerable, meaning nothing. What does it mean, intolerable? When you continue to tolerate it, when you do nothing to stop it. What does intolerable mean? Nevertheless, they were instructed to use this word all the time to fake that they were actually worried about what was going on and they were actually hurting about. They were trying to pretend they were actual human beings. Those fucking vampires. Fucking vampires. That's what they are. They're actually, I don't want to make my descriptions too graphic, but we understand what they are. People who have saying intolerable about tens of thousands of murdered children and starving children. And they have been saying intolerable in order for Israel to continue to do it without interruptions, through pretending they care and they are going to do something, when they are definitely not about to do anything and they don't care. What are these people? What are those people? Are they even people? And they have been supporting everything that Israel has been doing leading up to this moment and the Israeli catastrophe that is now imminent. But to enter this world war from such a disgusting and despicable place, position, you have just supported the annihilation of tens of thousands of innocent children and babies. And now you pretend to go to war for something you represent, for values, for what the fuck do you even stand for? What does the West stand for? The political West, the elites, not the people. The people are good. British people are against the genocide. They don't support what Israel is doing. And many Americans are against the genocide. And they don't support what Israel is doing as well as Germans and French and Italians and all of humanity. Only the psychopaths support Israel. Still, the political class in the West abides by Israel and does everything that Israel tells them to do. Will they decide to join Israel in its war against Iran? We'll have to see. The implications are going to be horrendous, catastrophic, if they decide to join it. But I won't rule it out. I think it's possible. But this is a world war. This is not a local war. This is not a proxy war. This is a world war. It's already here. This is the meaning of what we're seeing. Thank you, and I'll make new videos as developments occur and emerge. And we're entering a very interesting period in history. This is where we are. See you in the next video.